guess we're jumping right into it then.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome to the League of the Wings podcast. I am a co-host of yours, Titus Oldham.
And I am another co-host of this podcast, Caleb Leonza. And let's just say this is another rough week for me again.
We never start off like that, by the way.
Yeah, we always just go straight into it.
But I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Caleb's with family, so we can't record in person. So here's the deal. Right, let's fill you in on some historical context of this league. I have only lost to 2 teams out of the other 5 teams that there are in this league. Okay, I have an undefeated record against everyone else except Caleb's disgruntled team, and then Sophia's fucking Esposito fries. And so, before playoffs, my hope was that I can at least get 1 win off of these motherfuckers because I haven't lost anyone else. This past week, I finally did against Caleb, and this next upcoming week, I have a matchup against Sophia, and I think it's my time to shine.
You absolutely destroyed me. Do you want to go over our matchup first then?
Yeah, let's go into our matchup. So, it started off with a Thursday night matchup, which was the double header of our quarterbacks. Russell Wilson versus Kyler Murray. It was very, very interesting situation there. It actually ended up that we basically had the same amount of points. Kyler Murray had slightly decimal amount more than Russell Wilson, but they both underperformed, is what we could say, right? They both underperformed. Kyler Murray, especially though, because that's one of the highest scoring people in fantasy, he flopped kind of hard in his loss to Seahawks. So that was a bad start for me. But luckily, I also had Lockett, and let me tell you, Tyler Lockett popped off. Yeah. 9 receptions off of all 9 of his targets for 67 yards and a singular touchdown. That was my only my second best receiver of the week, as well, as we'll get into. So, and then Caleb had the other Seahawks wide receiver that everyone knows and loves, DK Metcalf. Only caught 3 out of his 5 targets for 46 yards, but he also did get a touchdown. It's not a great day for DK.
That sucks so badly because DK had a 40-yard reception called back because of holding, and then he dropped a touchdown in the end zone to end the half. So he could have had way more points than he had. Just missed opportunities based on his team and him not seeing where the ball was.
Yeah, for some reason against the Cardinals, freaking Lockett just rolls over them. Or they're too busy worrying about Metcalf because, he's the faster guy. The guy who everyone in the league is looking at being a top 5 receiver overall.
Yeah.
And then Lockett kind of gets away with limited coverage, and Russell is just okay, I'll give it to that guy.
I had a few players do really good for me, but my flops, I didn't have anyone exceed except for maybe Travis Kelce, which was a good pickup. That was a really good pickup, but
yeah, I was watching that game and he was just getting catch after catch. Kelce is freaking phenomenal on the field. I regret kind of getting rid of him, but
I mean Dallas
got. Oh no, Goddard, whatever. But I think the better part of the trade was that I have more consistency in both my running back and wide receiver core now that I have Calvin Ridley and Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs did only okay for me, actually. I don't know what is with Las Vegas, but they start him off so hot. Josh Jacobs is so hot to start it off, but then they stop rushing him. They stop using the rush with their star running back, and it's very weird. I don't know why they do that, because it's happened 2 weeks in a row now. He had a great game last week, though. So I guess they started using his backup just because he was, he already had the stats he needed to feel good, whatever. But today, I don't think he should have been I don't know, called off.
Yeah.
But that's just me. He had at least 1 touchdown. I can't complain. He actually the least amount of points out of my team So
Your entire team like did super good and like dominated too.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say that much about Kyler Murray or Josh Jacobs. I wouldn't say they did super good. Jonathan Taylor. Okay, we'll start with Jonathan Taylor, right? That was an amazing game. We'll get into that later though. JT definitely had a lot of chances to get touchdowns in that game, which I was watching it. I was like, man, if only the Colts were getting so many holding penalties against them, then this guy would be having a fantasy breakout. But instead, he just had 90 yards and 4 catches for 24 yards. But still, 22 carries, that is a lot for the trifecta, is what we call it, for the Colts rushing between Wilkins, Hines, and him. Because Hines has been on the field a lot, whether that's getting the ball in his hands like as a rush or going out and receiving, because I don't know if he's leading the league in receiving touchdowns, but he's up there. I think Kamara's probably leading the league in receiving touchdowns for running backs, as far as running backs go. Hines is definitely up there. And so because of that, they haven't depended on Jonathan Taylor a lot because Hines has been on a roll. But yeah, these 22 carries marks his second most actually amount of carries all year. And it's just showing that we're finally finding ways to incorporate this rookie into our offense, and it's great. And I'm glad I've held on to him, because there have been times I've been like, oh, I should probably let him go. But it's been good that I've kept him, because Christian McCaffrey has been injured, and I don't know even know if I'm getting him back next week. Chris Carson has been injured, so it's good I've kept that solid backup.
Like you didn't have any flops too. Like the rest of your team, like your defense and your kicker are the ones who usually don't get you a lot of points. But even then, Steelers defense got 16 points and your kicker got 13 points. And
I think I have the best defensive and special teams in this entire league. Between Blankenship and Young Hoku, like those two are like some of the younger kickers that have come into this league recently that have just made such a high impression. Like everyone's talking about Rodrigo Blankenship right now because he had the game-winning field goal, but Young Hoku has actually been more consistent, I actually would say, especially from long range as well. So he's like a fantasy god in that sense, but he's on Atlanta, so no one really talks about him.
I feel like that's the most like underrated or 2 underrated positions like that not many people pay attention to, because like, but I feel like it's the most important because like my defense and my kicker, like you got 17 points, just 17-point advantage, because I picked up the Dolphins late because like I didn't trust the Bucks defense and or the Patriots defense against the teams that they were playing. But the Dolphins end up getting -1 to the loss against Denver, and Crosby just did average, and that's.
I mean, no one would have expected Miami to failing that bad against Denver, but
yeah,
I mean, that's what happens. Their winning streak is over. But yeah, I mean, I made the right call putting Steelers in against versus putting the Colts defense in, because even the times where I've put Colts defense against really good offensive teams, they somehow get like double-digit fantasy points. And like Steelers will be playing an easy team, and they do well, but it's nothing compared to the Colts numbers. I'm like, that's weird. Yeah. But this time I was like, okay, Steelers versus Jacksonville, and then Colts versus Green Bay. I have to go with Steelers this time. I don't care what history has shown. And I was right. Colts ended up getting scored on. It was like 28 points in the first half. They did tighten up in the second half, but fantasy doesn't look at that, right? Fantasy will just be like, oh, you got scored on this many times. Fucking negatives.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, you just like crushed me with Keenan Allen too.
That was the last person I was going to talk about is Keenan Allen. Like fucking 16 catches. That's insane. Yeah. Imagine those are all for no gain. 16 catches for no gain in yardage, okay? That's still 16 fantasy points in our league. We do a point per reception. I mean, crazy. That is just insane. And that's why Kamara does so well in our league as well, because he's a running back who gets catches more than he gets carries. So.
Yeah, and then wait, I just like.
But he did fumble. He did fumble in the game actually.
Yeah, but so he got like 34 points, like nonetheless, and it's just
could have been 36.
I think like the record for most catches in the game was like set by Brandon Marshall with like 21 receptions in a single game. So I think he came like super close to breaking that. That would
Yeah,
have
he's
been good.
definitely the main target for Justin Herbert now. Been getting a lot of yards after catch and like just in general, but he's been struggling in the end zone. For some reason, other guys get it in the end zone. He'll always get at least one, but he's never having a breakout game where he gets like, I don't know, 2 or 3, right?
Yeah.
And that just may be a Chargers issue because Chargers, as we know, have issues. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And then just to talk about my side for a little bit, Antonio Gibson is looking like a really good pickup. It's his second game in a row where he's had really good games. He had 17 points in our fantasy league for me. I mean it's nothing crazy, but it's still like consistent, solid points. And then Michael Thomas is looking somewhat like himself. He got me 19 points and he had like 8 or 9 receptions, which is crazy. And then but like Travis Fulgham flopped 2 weeks in a row, and Miles Sanders also flopped. So there's like the Eagle players are flopping for me. I mean, Travis Fulgham, I said this in the reaction video versus the Browns, but he's been getting a lot of targets. He's just not being able to hold on to the ball, which sucks. But again,
Is he dropping him? I don't think I got to watch that game. Well, I
yeah.
got to watch the very end of it.
Yeah, there's like a couple where it was like bad drops, but I mean, it was partly like super hard catches to make in the first place. Like
Was once just thrown bad?
it was a it wasn't even Wentz throwing bad. It was just like ridiculously hard catches that he had to make, and it was like very difficult catches.
Hopkins level catches.
Yeah. So like I
Uh,
don't blame him, but like there's some like really bad drops where Wentz put it on a dime and he could have had it, but Wentz was actually throwing pretty accurately to him, but I just don't know why he hasn't been catching them.
right. That's like, yeah, I see 7 targets and only 1 catch.
Yeah,
That's rough.
it's like
Um,
he has the opportunity to have like so many more points. It's just I think I'm gonna hold on to him just for the targets and hopefully he can like rebound from this because he had a lot of targets last week or 2 weeks ago and he only had 1.8 points, but kind of a little
yeah,
bit.
that's what I did with Jonathan Taylor for a bit because Colts were like struggling in the run game for a while, and like, Hines had his couple of pop offs where they were like, oh, maybe we should just keep feeding Hines instead of Jonathan Taylor. And so I just kept it on the bench, just waiting to see like how the Colts would do going forward. And then he had a pretty decent game today. And I'm like, man, this guy could definitely do better going forward. So,
Yeah.
I'm holding on to him, and I think that's a good idea, especially if you have that sort of love for a player
Yeah.
like Fulgham.
And he's an Eagles too. And then like you said,
Yeah,
it's like
exactly.
it's more of a sentimental value than anything.
It took me a while to get rid of T.Y. Hilton, but
Yeah.
I'm glad I did that. He still does like in situational plays, he does really well. Like to get a really opportune like first down to set up a field goal or a touchdown or something, but he hasn't been like a star receiver in any sense. So definitely not worth fantasy. Still worth supporting as I'm watching the games, but not a fantasy receiver.
I
So
still
yeah,
have a
there's
lot
that.
of hope.
Yeah, Fulgham can definitely be a star receiver.
So do you want to move on to Esposito
Yeah,
Fry?
let's keep moving on. So the highest scoring person this past week was Esposito Fries, who's moved on to 7-4. There's only 3 people who are 7-4. Hold on, I'm looking at the wrong part. What made her pop off? I guess the fact that, in the same sense as me, it was like no one flopped, but she had way more people with breakout games than me, I would say.
Yeah.
Like Justin Herbert, like I guess that's what we consider average for him now. I don't know. Like he's just been popping off, like having amazing games.
Ezekiel Elliott did really good too, because he's been like flopping a lot at least recently, but he's 4 points over
That's true.
average. And then
Yeah.
Cook got average. It's crazy because like some of these averages are like super high too. Like Dalvin,
Yeah, I guess so.
or not average, like projected points. I mean, because like Dalvin Cook's
We
projected.
just expect them to do so well.
Yeah,
They're key players for the team, right?
yeah. And then
Dalvin Cook is definitely one of those guys. Yeah, 27 carries. That's just so many times they're feeding him. So.
that's crazy. He had a fumble too, right?
Oh, did he? Lol.
Or was that last week? I can't remember.
No,
But
I see it. I see the fumble statistic. Adam Thielen was definitely her MVP this week. Fucking 8 catches for 123 yards and 2 touchdowns. Yeah, I was watching that guy during that game. And I was like, holy shit, this guy can move.
Yeah, and then
That's
Cooper
insane.
Kupp. Cooper
Oh,
Kupp.
Cooper Cup as well is super
Also,
underrated. Like, she definitely has some like hidden gems in here, and it's scary.
yeah, like Adam Thielen, like he's like the number one receiver.
Hmm.
Well, for that team, I guess you could argue Justin Jefferson's making a case, but he's getting a lot of touches, and Cooper Kupp is like it's hard to tell who's the number one receiver on that team because you also got Robert Woods. But
No, I wouldn't even say it's a Robert Woods anymore. Like Robert Woods, obviously, he does well for the team.
yeah,
Okay, maybe from a fantasy sense, I would say Cooper Cup is over Robert Woods. How about that? I would say that because like I traded Robert Woods over to Brendan early on, and then he ended up dropping Robert Woods. I'm pretty sure. Maybe he still hasn't. I'm not sure. But like I don't see Robert Woods putting up as big of fantasy numbers as Cooper Cup has.
yeah.
Maybe just because he's getting more catches or whatnot, but still, like, wow.
I
He's been doing great.
Yeah, I haven't been paying attention to Robert Woods or Cooper Kupp, but from what I remember, or at least last year, there were like two of the
Mhm.
best receivers on that team, and it was kind of hard to, because it always seemed like once one popped off, there then the other one would pop off the next
Yeah.
one. And it was like
And
they're
she has one of the higher up tight ends as well, and Darren Waller.
yeah.
Um,
You'd
I
be surprised,
I
honestly.
think he's like number 2 on the tight end rankings now that Kittle's been out for like more than half the season.
Yeah, but I wasn't expecting him. He kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah, her big issues have been within kicking and defense, mainly because she doesn't know who to start at the right time, it seems like, because her bench kicker and bench defense did better than the starting ones this week.
Yeah.
But I mean, even still, Rams defense and Chiefs defense, as good as they are, I don't think they put up like massive numbers like Colts or Steelers or even sometimes Buccaneers would.
Crazy because she could have had 12 more points for like 182 total points if she would
Yeah,
have
she would have popped up.
swapped out the kickers and defense.
Yeah, Bucker just didn't have any chance to get field goals against Vegas, which is not something you can really predict, I guess.
Yeah.
But Boswell, Pittsburgh kicker, he's been all right. He's got 2 from the 40 to 49 range out of 3 extra points. Yeah,
Guess you
he's
kind
all
of just
right.
have to look at the teams who kick a lot and who get
Yeah.
stopped short because the Colts were like that, or I don't know if they're still like that, but they like always get stopped in the red zone. So that's
No,
why.
yeah, even in the last game where we had a lot of touchdowns, it still was like there are points we had to depend on our kicker, and Blankenship missed one from like 50 yards.
Dang.
Yeah, and everyone's been talking about, oh, he's money, he got the overtime kick, but they kind of forgot about the fact that he missed one at halftime. That would have put us, in a better place. We may have not even gone to overtime.
Yeah. I guess he kind of made up for it though.
Yeah, definitely. But like, I think it was just like he hit the wrong part of the ball, or something. I don't know, just some like technical issue. It wasn't aim or power or anything because he hasn't really made a long one yet. But close people are claiming that he could do it from 60 yards easy, and it's just been he hasn't, been able to show it. I was like, okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my little spiel on that. So yeah, Sophia's whole team really great. Even on her bench, she's got Justin Jefferson and Chris Godwin still, who like there. I don't know whose bye weeks are coming up, but if any, I don't know how many teams even have bye weeks anymore. But with COVID, anything can happen. So she has good lifelines, right? Man, she didn't even put Josh Allen in this week, who typically could get her even bigger numbers. So yeah, she's definitely scary for me to face next week. But especially because I don't think Christian McCaffrey's returning yet, which sucks. But we'll see.
I mean, like even without your starters, you're still scary because like most of your big guy or big names were injured, and you still had like the second highest.
Christian McCaffrey and George Kittle were both injured this year.
Yeah. And
Second
you still
highest
had
point.
like 166 points, which is crazy.
As far as Trey's goes, he depends a lot on his Denver people, and like that wasn't the worst idea this week, I guess, against Miami. But I don't think he should have put in Jerry Jeudy when he Man, actually, looking at his bench, I guess it's not that bad. His bench is just not that great, actually. I
Yeah.
guess he could have put Noah Fant in flex, but that's also another Denver player, so that kind of nullifies my argument, right?
Yeah. But I
Um,
mean, Jerry Judy has like really good games, like once or twice, but
mhm.
he's so inconsistent where it's hard to decide to put him in. But I mean, Deshaun Watson popped off. His quarterbacks are super good, but
Oh yeah, I don't know why he has 3 because that's just gonna confuse him, like who to put in going forward. Like
yeah,
make more room for a flex position, you know?
I
That's
honestly would drop Lamar Jackson. He's not
yeah,
doing
he has not been doing good at all.
because like
Especially against teams that are good against the rush. Like, what is Jackson left to do? It's scary.
and then, but I mean, other than his quarterbacks, Derrick Henry actually had a good week, the game-winning touchdown. And then Melvin Gordon did actually really good. Melvin Gordon's been like popping off actually a lot recently. Um,
Hopkins did not have a good game. He was covered hard by Seattle. He only got 5 catches off of 8 targets. He could have gotten more if it weren't for penalties back at the line towards the end of the game. But regardless, like, yeah, he was just like, they just kind of figured out him in a sense as far as coverage goes. Because they, that was their second time playing this season. It makes sense.
Juju and then Rob Gronkowski both did
They
bad.
did bad, yeah. Like couldn't get their time at all. They just get outshined by all the other receivers on their team sometimes, and sometimes they'll have their moments, but like they're not consistent enough. Like I wouldn't really want them on my fantasy team if I'm being
Yeah.
honest.
It's either they do like really good, or I mean, I guess not even really good. I guess like average, and or they don't do good at all.
Mhm.
Because like Rob Gronkowski, I feel like he hasn't had a pop off game yet, and
Mhm.
Juju's like best game was only like 20 points, which is
Right.
still like decent, but it's not like good.
Yeah. And then you have his kickers. He has put McManus from Denver in. He's done that a lot, especially because he's a Temple alumni and Denver Bronco. Like it's kind of just favoritism there. But like he also has Goskowski, who I know there's like all those memes about Goskowski, missing all those times against. I guess it was Denver as well. That one time. But like he's really consistent ever since week
Yeah,
1.
I
He's
mean,
been very consistent.
yeah, he's missed like one or two bad field goals since I was watching, but like you you like perfectly said it. He's just consistent ever since that one bad
I
game.
mean, he's a Hall of Famer, so.
Yeah.
And then both of his defenses did really well. Broncos with 6 sacks and an interception, only allowing 13 points from Miami. But then Saints did even better with 2 interceptions, 8 sacks, and only 9 points allowed from Atlanta of all places. So
I don't know
yeah,
why he hasn't been putting the Saints defense in because
it's
like
favoritism. He loves the
yeah,
Broncos.
yeah, but like still like we both like you love the Colts and I love the Eagles, but like if we
Yeah,
see
I know when to take him out.
yeah, like we know when to like take one of our players out if we see the matchup isn't like
Yeah,
favoring us.
yeah. I didn't put Colts defense in. I love Colts defense.
Yeah.
So. I think I actually am playing in Colts defense against Titans again, but like I'm scared about the rematch. I
Yeah.
feel like Titans are coming with vengeance. They have a good coach, Vrabel. He's
Yeah.
scary too. He nearly fought fucking Harbaugh. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that.
Oh my gosh, they had like a fucking yelling match before the game, and then they didn't shake hands afterwards. After
Dang.
Vrabel beat him, in fact. So
Wait,
yeah.
why do you know why they started to argue?
So to start off, Harbaugh kind of had this confrontation with some Titans players. I think they're defensemen. Actually, no, I think it was a mix of people, but like there's a cornerback and a wide receiver. I think AJ Brown was there. Just like doing something on the field. I don't know the specifics. And Harbaugh kind of like confronted them. He's like started going from his side and was like yelling at them and stuff like that. And then Vrabel came out of nowhere trying to confront Harbaugh, like, hey, don't talk to my players, go coach a game. And then Harbaugh was like, that's disrespectful. That's disrespectful. I don't know exactly what was happening. And the referees had to split them up. So
Dang. That must have been funny to watch.
yeah, everyone's been talking about like, at least I was watching the fucking, what is it called? Pat McAfee show. They're like, out of all coaches to not pick a fight against is Vrabel. That dude is a fucking beast.
Yeah. I love
Yeah.
the Pat McAfee show. I watch him all the time.
Yeah, I was watching it when Aaron Rodgers was on after the Colts beat him. I just wanted to see what he had to say. He's a very humble, chillax dude. I didn't really expect that from Aaron Rodgers, but like I could listen to him talk all day. Like actually. And did you hear about his whole thing with Darius Leonard?
No, I did not.
So before that game, like the week before, Aaron Rodgers was saying that the best linebacker in the league, just like it had nothing to do with his upcoming opponent. He was just saying the best linebacker in the league was Fred Warner from 49ers. And Darius Leonard was like, I'm gonna make him change his mind about that. Like he said that publicly. It was like, yeah, I overheard what he said. I'm gonna change his mind about it. And so, you know, Darius Leonard had a lot of quarterback pressure. I don't think he ever got a sack. I don't even think he led the team in tackles. I think Kenny Moore did. But he still, he still pressured Aaron Rodgers as much as he could. Like he had a decent game.
Yeah.
And at some point, like some commercial break, Aaron Rodgers went up to Darius Leonard because he wanted to make sure that he wasn't taking offense to what he said. It's just that Aaron Rodgers had like literally knew Fred Warner even before the NFL. He's like he's grown up with him in the league. He's played him more because they're in the NFC. This is his first time playing Darius Leonard. All of those things. So and so he wanted to make sure he didn't take offense. And Darius Leonard was super nice about it. Was like, yeah, I just want to, hype myself up, just motivation, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
that's and stuff like that. And so, it was just a nice little thing. And Aaron Rodgers was giving Darius Leonard a lot of respect. Like, yeah, I had to definitely mix up my game because of how athletic he is, going side to side, reading my eyes. So he had to do like no look passes just to avoid like Darius Leonard being able to read him. Yeah, it was very cool.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
You love to see that within the NFL.
Yeah. Definitely. And that was like after the game, like, he could have easily just avoided that question. Like, didn't want to talk about his loss, but he was super cool about it. It was a heartbreaking loss too. Fucking overtime. Like,
crazy. Overtimes are really hard to lose. Because you're so close, but then it comes down to a wire.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on to the final matchup.
Yeah. This was
Compton Crip.
Yeah.
What?
I was just going to say this was a lot closer than I thought, but Compton Crib Trip first.
Yeah, for some reason, Brennan's team, who Caleb considers to be the scariest in the league, didn't do as well.
Yeah.
And I don't know, let's look at why, I guess. For once, Alvin Kamara was getting more carries than targets receiving. He got 45 off of 13 carries, which is pretty good, actually, and 1 touchdown.
This is his worst
but
game,
he only had 1 target receiving. Yeah, this was definitely his worst game. And I think it's mainly just because they had a different quarterback in Taysom Hill.
Yeah.
Who can run it himself. He's just a very dynamic quarterback compared to, Drew Brees, who, will just sling it, old-fashioned way. And so they just had a whole different setup going in against the Falcons that Kamara just honestly didn't have much use for.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's still there when needed against probably the bigger opponents that they will face, obviously. But in this situation, it was just the Taysom Hill show. And Kamara had a very non-MVP looking performance. I still think he should be like offensive player of the year because when he's, when he has his play, he looks amazing every time. But, they just weren't giving him the plays, and that comes down to coaching, right?
Yeah.
Other than that, we had Tom Brady, bad game, as we know. Wouldn't shake Jared Goff's hand. He just went straight to the locker room. So second time this season, I think he's done this. Nick Foles.
I feel like he does that a lot because I'm pretty sure he didn't shake Nick Foles' hands.
Yeah, he didn't shake Nick Foles' hand. So I guess it's just people he's facing the Super Bowl. He has something against them. I don't know. Other than, he didn't do good. 2 interceptions. But he had 2 touchdowns, 216 yards. It was just not great, right? Tyreek Hill actually did amazing. We don't really see Tyreek Hill popping off this hard, I wouldn't say. Like, obviously, we know how good Tyreek Hill is, but we don't really ever see him have amazing games to this extent, but recently we have, from Jets to Carolina to Vegas, like they've all been super amazing. He only had one touchdown this game, whereas he had 2 touchdowns against Jets, 2 touchdowns against Carolina. But this time he had 11 catches, which is his most so far this season, for 102 yards. And he actually had 2 carries for some reason. They rushed it with him a couple of times, some trick plays, but only got -2 yards off of it. So there's that.
Yeah. My thing like glitched out, so I'm trying to get back to it. So that's why I'm not really commenting.
Oh, that's fine. Other people, I guess. James Robinson, he's been great for Jacksonville. Probably the best thing about Jacksonville, other than C.J. Anderson, their cornerback, and yeah, that's about it. He didn't have that great of a game. He couldn't get any rushing touchdowns. He had a lot of carries for a lot of yards actually, but he couldn't get any touchdowns off anything. He had a couple receptions for 21 yards. Still, like, yards aren't going to be enough in this situation.
It's crazy because like it's like if you don't score a touchdown and or like have a lot of receiving / like catches in a week, then you barely have anything, even though you could have like 150 yards rushing, but only have like 15 points to show for it. So you could have a crazy like rushing game, but like there's no points to show for it in fantasy.
Yeah.
Like I had like Josh Jacobs when I had him, he had like 120 rushing yards or 130, but it was only like 12 points because like he didn't catch the ball or get any touchdowns. So it was like he had so many yards and had so many opportunities. But
yeah, running backs are definitely more touchdown dependent, which is why like Dalvin Cook, Christian McCaffrey, Alvin Kamara, like people who any given game, you know, they're going to get touchdown because that's how much the team depends on them. Like those are the people you definitely want on your team. Yeah. And those are the type of people that usually go first in a draft, you know. Saquon Barkley as well, but like obviously we haven't seen that much from him.
Licia's team didn't do. I mean, she did like 108 points for us. It's like bad, but like
he took this week pretty seriously. By the way, she even talked to like a family member, just like, "Yo, how can I make this week better?" But like, it just didn't work out. Marquise Brown, 3 targets for 0 catches, so she ended up with 0 points from that position. It was just an empty space for her.
Matt Prater, -1 points too. What, did he have like a missed field goal or something? I wasn't watching that game. But
yeah, he had a missed field goal from 50 plus yards.
But Cam Newton he did average or was projected. Nick Chubb, like, see what I was saying before, he had like 114 yards rushing, but he didn't have any rushing touchdowns or receiving, so he only had 11 points. Chase Edmonds, he did a little bit above average. I had Devontae Adams did what expected. Hunter Henry did a little bit above projected, but Julio Jones got injured, so he didn't.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
Which is actually good for Calvin Ridley and your guy because he's going to get more targets. But I don't know how long Julio Jones is going to be out for. But then the biggest surprise, I guess not really a surprise coming from an Eagles fan because it's kind of expected, but Browns just exploded 20 points for their defense, which is crazy.
Yeah, that is a lot of points. 5 sacks, 1 fumble recovery, 2 interceptions, 1 for a touchdown, and a safety. That's just insane.
Yeah, like the defense just like completely destroyed us. We didn't know.
Yeah, it was like a statistic in every single category except block. You know.
Yeah.
Just wow.
And like the Eagles, like still was only like 5 points away from beating them. Like it was still like a close game. I mean, the Browns were taking it away like late in the 4th quarter a little bit, and it's kind of like a last minute touchdown that didn't really like matter that much. But like even with the defensive well, I guess we can like talk about that later, but like it was a close game. So closer than I expected this game would go. Do you want to go over the games from last week?
Yeah, sure. Let's do it. Yeah, so Brendan 7-4, half lesbian, thespians are now 2-9. I don't think they're in playoff contention anymore. Yeah, Brendan leads the pack still.
This is making me a little bit cautious too, or worried, because like I'm still like tied with Trey. Like
Yeah, you could lose it, dude. Like you're still 80 points above him as far as fantasy points goes to break the tie. But if you do end up with like a loss and he gets 2 wins or something like that, like that's it.
like
So
I would like. I mean, I don't think I'm going to do that well in the playoffs anyway, but like I still want to make it because like I started 3-0 this season and I was like super good to start, and then I just like flopped. Now I lost. I both have a winning streak of 3 and a losing streak of 3. So like I don't know what to do. It's just my players are too inconsistent, but it's like making me nervous.
Do you know what our record was for games predicted?
No.
We both had the same record, okay?
Cool.
Despite our many disputes, discrepancies. We both had the same record of 7-7. So we only got half the games right this week. So there are a lot of mix-ups, right?
Wait, so we both won 7-7?
Yeah.
Oof.
Yeah. So to start off was the Thursday night game between Seahawks, Arizona. Seahawks had vengeance. They won. I predicted that as such.
Mm-hmm.
You predicted Arizona, so there was your first loss, right?
Yeah, the Seahawks defense did a lot better.
Came in clutch.
They did a lot better than anyone I was expecting, especially me.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the fantasy numbers alone from DeAndre Hopkins and Kyler Murray. Like, fucking Seahawks managed to keep him that low. That's insane.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Jamal Adams and Bobby Wagner. Those guys are definitely leading them to becoming more like a Super Bowl caliber team. You know, everyone was saying they were just under Russell Wilson alone. Russell Wilson can't do it alone, though, as we've seen, you know, his turnover streak. But now it's starting to get back on track. Anyways, Philadelphia still somehow leading their division
At 3
after this loss. After this loss against Cleveland, who now is 7-3, despite not being a 7-3 team in my mind.
Yeah. I just like I picked the Browns in that one, right?
Yeah, you did. Because I was like, Cleveland Browns, like, they have to lose eventually. They are not good recently.
But like I just the way that the Eagles were playing, I just didn't see how they would able to beat the Browns even.
I didn't think it'd be this bad.
Yeah, but like the Eagles were playing much worse than how the Browns were playing, and it just shows. Somehow the Eagles are still in the division lead at 3-6-1, like you said.
Yeah.
The only reason why they're winning the division is because of the tie, which was smart in Doug Peterson's mind.
Because he knew the division would suck. That's the only case where the tie would be good, though.
Yeah, because like everyone else is 3-7, and so
I mean, Giants could do it, dude. I feel like Giants have a chance.
I think it's going to be the Giants who win. I do not want to see the Eagles like in the playoffs. Like they're just going to get destroyed. I want like draft picks and I want someone to get fired. Whether that's like Howie, like Jim Short.
I want someone fired. I don't know who, but someone better get fired.
Someone fired. And so
we both predicted Saints over Atlanta. That was
an obvious one.
Yeah, even with Drew Brees out, it's just like, come on.
Yeah. That was more of a dominant performance by the Saints than I thought. I thought it would be like a little bit closer than what it was, but
right, sure. You were right about Washington being Cincinnati. Cincinnati lost Joe Burrow though, so that was like probably the biggest reason. But Cincinnati only managed to get 9 points. I don't think I'm going to be predicting Cincinnati for the rest of the season. I think their season's basically done.
Yeah.
Like no point even watching a Cincinnati game anymore. We know the result.
Yeah, I feel bad for Joe Burrow because like he's played so well in college, and then he gets injured, and then he like got on a shitty team. He's like 2-7-1, or whatever their record is now. But.
Yeah, I mean his offensive line is probably one of the worst in the league.
Yeah,
and that's just not how you. Well, like I guess out of all quarterbacks to set that up with is like obviously the young ones who can take hits probably better and can escape the pocket better.
Yeah.
But still, like that was the death of Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
So yeah, they better like fucking solidify that line now before Joe Burrow has a similar issue, right? Because number one draft pick and in a team that like everyone loves him.
Yeah.
They're glad they took him. Rookie of the year caliber. I don't think he will be rookie of the year anymore. I think Justin Herbert has been too consistent. Unless Justin Herbert also gets injured, then who knows? But Justin Herbert's been way too consistent. Everyone's already been talking about maybe it is Justin Herbert over Joe Burrow, even with Justin Herbert's late start. But now that Joe Burrow's missing games, it's just like by default, right?
Yeah.
Anyways, yeah, Washington could also make a fucking run for that NFC East title. Honestly, even Cowboys could. Like, I feel like anyone at this point.
Okay, I don't think it's the Eagles anymore. I think they're out solely because of their schedule. Solely because of their schedule, because they have.
I know it's Seahawks next week. Who else?
It's Seahawks, Green Bay, and then it's like it's Cardinals. We play the Cardinals, and then we have the hardest schedule in the entire like league, I think, or at least the NFC. We have the hardest schedule like to play, and then we're like so bad, and then the rest of the division they're playing like beatable teams, even though they're like garbage, but they're also playing garbage teams where they can beat. So it's not like the Eagles have like almost impossible chance of winning.
You never know. I feel like all the other teams could fucking fluke as well. Who knows?
Yeah.
But it'll be interesting to watch as the season closes, right?
Yeah. I will say though, it's going to be the worst record to be in the playoffs. Whoever.
Oh, definitely. It's none of these teams are going 7-9.
Yeah.
None of these teams are going 7-9, which is like tied for the worst. I think.
Yeah.
Maybe there was a 6-10 team. I don't know. But
because I know the Seahawks were 7-9, and they made it.
Yeah, but I don't know if that was the record or tied for the record. Because I'm pretty sure there were other 7-9 teams before, but there could have also been a 6-10 team. I'm just trying to remember because I remember seeing this statistic, but whatever. I don't think any of these teams will get 3 more wins by the time the season's over anyway.
Yeah. But it's just crazy that a losing record can go into the playoffs like that. Because it's like, I feel like it's so hard to
and home field advantage, by the way. Next, we have Detroit literally getting blown out by Carolina, 0 points. I just feel bad for Matthew Stafford because he is on such a bad team. It's disgraceful.
Yeah,
like he is stuck with his team through thick and not even thick, just thin.
Yeah.
You know?
Like they haven't even made the playoffs, I don't think. Or
it's been a while.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure back when like Megatron was still around, they made the playoffs at least once, but
yeah, but like they still haven't won a playoff game in like 20 plus years. So like
last Detroit Lions playoff win.
I looked it up, and the worst team was the 7-9 Seahawks.
Okay. Well, there you go.
Oh, I mean, I thought there was a 6-10 team too, but okay. When was the last time?
Oh, they were in the playoffs 2016.
Oh, okay.
But they lost immediately. 2014 lost immediately. 2011 lost immediately. The last time they won a game was 1991.
Damn.
Against the Cowboys. Hey. But then they lost the Redskins. So, anywho.
But yeah, the Panthers were looking way worse than the Lions were, so that was kind of confusing on how.
Yeah, we both lost that one. I don't know. Oh well, fucking a different quarterback was starting. The old Temple guy who was in the XFL. PJ Walker, that's his name. Yeah, he looked really good. So maybe that's the future.
Maybe.
Who knows? And with Christian McCaffrey by his side, maybe. Probably not next week. People are saying it's doubtful next week, but hey, maybe a little preview for the 2021 season. Toward like at the end of the season, we'll see a preview of what that team could look like next season, right?
Yep.
With PJ Walker, maybe, who knows? And Christian McCaffrey both starting. It might be dominant. I mean, I really like Bridgewater too, but like he is inconsistent, I will say.
They signed a massive contract for like 3 years or something for Teddy, because like he won. It was like 3 years, 60 million or something like that, because Teddy won 5 straight with the Saints. So they're like,
he signed that long?
yeah, it was like 3 years for 60 mil. So that's
The
gonna be
fuck is wrong with Carolina?
I have no idea. At least they have McCaffrey.
Anyways.
That's their only plus line, but
Yeah, sure. Anyways, Pittsburgh over Jacksonville.
that was
That was
obvious.
obvious. Like nothing really to say there. Tennessee over Baltimore. That was a coin flip. We both said I went Baltimore because I fucked Tennessee. You said Tennessee. It was a 6-point game. Lots of heat. Lots of heated fucking things going on in that matchup.
It's just that I picked the Titans because they're looking a lot better than what the Ravens were. And it was a close game, but I don't know. Ravens are on the downtrend.
Oh, for
I don't know what's up with
sure.
them.
Houston beat someone outside of the division, the New England Patriots. They did it. Watson had an amazing game. I'm low-key a Watson fan just because of how bad their team is. If their team was good, I wouldn't be a Watson fan or anything like that. But I like to see Watson do good because of how bad their team is.
Yep.
I just
also
feel bad.
really like Watson too.
Yeah, fuck Cam Newton as well, mainly.
Yeah.
But Miami lost to Denver. We both didn't see that coming.
That was a heartbreak. I was riding on the Dolphins for so long and still am. But like
yeah. They can still have a playoff opportunity.
Yeah.
But I was messaging Trey, our local Denver Broncos fan, who we were talking about earlier about loving his Broncos, putting him in every fantasy matchup. He was just freaking the fuck out. And I was like, it's a good day for horse teams.
Yeah.
Colts won as well in over 10. So
but yeah, that was surprising, especially like it's the Broncos. Like you don't expect the Dolphins to lose the Broncos because the Dolphins beat so many good teams beforehand. But it was like a should win for them.
Yeah, so Chargers beat the Jets, but it was way too close for comfort. It was a 6-point game. Jets put up 28.
Yeah, that was so surprising. I was like, I remember last week I was on the fence. I was like, should I pick the Jets? Good thing I picked the Chargers, but it was like it came way closer than I expected it would.
Yeah, Keenan Allen was interviewed and was like, man, our team, like we finally got a win secured, but it was way too close. Like we should not be making it this close in any game whatsoever, especially against these type of teams. Yeah, because they struggle to close out games and close in areas before, and it's just like they have such a strong lead, and all of a sudden they start coming back. It's just like, why is this happening, right? Yeah. So clearly, there's something in the organization that is screwing up for these Chargers that could be pretty good. They have an amazing secondary. And obviously, they have a great young quarterback with great weapons. Obviously, Austin Eckler is out, so he's not leading in rushes. But for some reason, towards the end of the games, they just fall apart.
Yep, I don't understand it. I really like the Chargers too. There's those games better.
Indianapolis versus Green Bay, a nail biter. Green Bay was up like 28-14 or something like that at half. And then freaking Colts defense took care of it. Special teams took care of it. Our offense came in clutch. Like we could have gotten touchdowns on different scenarios that we should have. But regardless, it all worked out. They only got 3 points on their final drive in the second half. That was the only points that Green Bay with Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams could get in the second half. And they couldn't get anything in overtime. Yeah, defense came in clutch. Julian Blackmon for Defensive Rookie of the Year. He was the guy who forced the fumble for us to set up the field goal. He's the highest ranked defensive rookie now from Pro Football Focus.
That's crazy. I bet you were stoked. What was your reaction when you won? It
was insane. Josh was there. He was just like sitting over here, and I was like standing up, pacing. I was just watching. Like I was fucking stoked. It was such a long game though, because of all the penalties towards the end and fourth quarter. I don't know if you heard about this, but we probably could have won the game just straight out without overtime, but because of our offensive line, the clock kept getting stopped because of holding penalties when we were trying to rush it to waste the clock. But because of like 6 in a row, I'm not even joking. 6 in a row holding penalties against us, the clock kept getting stopped.
That's crazy.
So, and there's a holding penalty that could have, if there wasn't that penalty, like Jonathan Taylor could have gotten a touchdown. To win the game, but we got nothing off of that drive. We ended up just like taking another penalty so we could punt it. Yeah, it was not good.
At least you got the win nonetheless.
Yes, we got the win nonetheless.
Cowboys-Vikings game?
Yeah. So
that sucks. I didn't want the Cowboys to win, and I really
I don't know what happened to the Vikings. That was just weird. Like Vikings, they beat Green Bay.
Yeah. Granted,
and then all of a sudden, it's just like they're losing to Dallas.
Like I hope this doesn't start something for the Cowboys and they start doing like really good. Like honestly,
wasn't Andy Dalton the starter this time?
I think so. I wasn't really paying attention to that game, but I would rather have Washington or the Giants go into the playoffs rather than the Cowboys or the Eagles right now. And I'm like an Eagles fan because Eagles are going to get destroyed. I don't want to see them like get destroyed in the playoffs and get humiliated. But like I also don't want to see like the Cowboys get in there because like Cowboy fans are going to be so annoying, just be bloating.
Yeah.
But then the Sunday night,
they are already gloating. They finally got a win after like a month and a half, and they were tweeting out to Stephen A. Smith like, "Oh look, we won," and Stephen A. Smith was like, "Shut the fuck up."
Yeah, like you're 3-7, like there's no room to be gloating like that.
Yeah, Chiefs finally got their revenge win over the Raiders. It was still very close, and people were like, literally, Raiders did everything right, but Chiefs is just a better team.
Yeah, like
that's what it came down to.
It was like a last-second touchdown.
Yeah, to Kelsey. I wouldn't say it was necessarily last second. I think they had a good amount more time. But man, Mahomes made an amazing play where like he probably could have passed it to Kelsey earlier, but like their coverage around him, it would have been a close call. Like it would have had to been like a fucking dime of a pass.
Yeah.
Which like he's capable of doing. Like it was like a 50-50 sort of touchdown in the end zone to Kelsey. But instead he starts running the other way to drag that safety away from Kelsey. Mm-hmm. And then right before he hits the line of scrimmage, he throws it to Kelsey like across his body, across the field. And Kelsey's wide open.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was a really cool play. Yeah, just very smart.
Must have been really exciting to watch too.
Yeah. I didn't watch too much of it except for that final drive. But, yeah. High scoring. I bet it was.
Rams, Bucks.
Yes.
Rams like get a good win here against the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Bucks can't win in prime time at all.
Yeah, they are not. Look, they get some great wins, but not during prime time. And like when you think about the playoffs, all of those are basically prime time. Yeah. You know, those are high intensity sort of matchups. Like if Bucks can't get it done here, where can they get it done?
Yeah.
And just by the way, I didn't yet mention this, but Colts Green Bay is the second highest watched football game of the year.
Really? Dang.
Yeah.
What's the first?
From the season. I mean, not counting like February, like Super Bowl shit like that, right? I'm talking about this regular season. The first was the first New Orleans versus Tampa Bay matchup in week 2, which was an actual primetime game. The Colts Green Bay one, that was a afternoon slot where certain regions couldn't even get it until like, it went to overtime, right?
Yeah. That's crazy. Good for that. Good for the Colts.
And so Colts are winning these high intensity prime time-ish type games. They did against Tennessee in prime time. I would make the argument that Colts are looking more like a Super Bowl contender than the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers, even like he's not that far away from, some of these Tom Brady stats. Like Tom Brady, like everyone talks about how Phillip Rivers throws interceptions. He's just an interception like sort of guy.
Yeah.
But Tom Brady isn't that far away from his number of interceptions on the year. So
never know when Phillip Rivers plays good.
When Phillip Rivers plays good. Same with Tom Brady, of course.
Yeah.
People call him the GOAT. And, he's going to have some good games. But, like, I think both can definitely lead the teams to Super Bowls, but one's getting it done in prime time and one isn't. So
Yeah.
look at it that way.
So, okay. So do you want to go over the next week's or this coming week's?
Yeah, we can kind of skim through them because I don't think a lot of people have updated their stuff yet. But I play Esposito Fries. It's 7-4 versus 7-4. Definitely is going to matter towards seeding in these final 2 weeks in the playoffs. I think we're both guaranteed we're going to make it. I think that's how it works now. Like me, Esposito Fries, and Compton Crib Chip, we're all going to make it because we're 2 games ahead of everyone else. So.
And then also, like, you guys have dominant teams that ain't no way, like, you're going to be losing that much unless if it's head-to-head like this. And, like, I was in the race too, but since my little losing streak or a huge losing streak, it's up between me and Trey. But this is probably the most exciting game by a long shot this week because, like you said before, 7-4 teams.
Yeah.
4 teams. And
towards the end of the regular season, it's basically like a playoff kind of preview.
Yep.
Only problem with me is that Christian McCaffrey is doubtful. George Kittle is obviously still out. I don't know if he'll even be back this season. Hopefully towards like week 16, 17 he will be.
Hey, you proven last week against me that you don't need them. And you can still like be dominant, like force.
Yeah. But like she also had more points than me last week. So if this happened last week, she still would have beaten me, remember?
Yeah. But still, it wasn't close. It's not like she would have blown you away because of those 2. It's like and reach. But like the thing that's going to catapult you over Sophia this week, I feel, is your defense and kicker. Because like we said before in the beginning, her special teams is not that good. Our defense and kicker is not that good. And you have like the best combination of that. So I feel like that's going to be the decider.
Well, my defenses are playing really good offensive teams. Like Steelers are playing Baltimore and Colts are playing Tennessee. And like Steelers had great success over Baltimore first week and Colts against Tennessee, right?
Yeah.
As far as defensively it went, but these are the second time matchups, divisional matchups, right? I don't feel as confident going into the second week that this defense is going to be able to get amazing points against like Tennessee, when mainly the real thing about Tennessee was like just like special teams issues, like punter was punting terribly, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
Like I don't expect to get those same opportunities as last time. But what is nice is Kyler Murray, as long as he is healthy, for some reason he's listed questionable, I think he'll be fine. He'll be playing a subpar team in New England, so I think he'll get good points off of them. Josh Jacobs is playing it in Atlanta defense. Pretty good there. Chris Carson. Huh?
Sorry to interrupt you, but I was just looking at it, like comparing the teams that you guys are playing. You guys are all playing like mediocre teams.
Yeah, I would definitely say so. Josh Allen against Chargers. Oof. Yikes. That could get a lot of points. Also, Chris Carson, Kenny Golladay on my team is questionable. Like, I just hope both of those end up being healthy.
Yeah.
Oof. Yeah.
I think you're going to win, but it's going to be close. The only like deciding factor too is the Darren Waller for her and Dallas Goedert.
Man, I fucking playing against Seattle, like that might be disgusting to watch on Monday night, but especially if it comes down like, oh, I need like 20 points from Dallas Goedert.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Just to go over quickly, just to like who's playing who. Sophia has a 51% chance of winning, but Titus is starting Kyler Murray, Josh Jacobs, Chris Carson, Keenan Allen.
Oh, Adam Thielen's out.
Really?
He's listed as out.
And he's
placed on the COVID-19 list. So she definitely needs to put either Chris Godwin, who's playing the Chiefs, or Justin Jefferson, who's playing Carolina.
That's actually kind of crazy because she still has a 51% chance.
Yeah, that's scary.
I feel like these two are going to be, you guys are going to be like in the championship.
You don't think Brendan Crump trip well?
Yeah, I'm leaning off of him. He's okay. He's still scary, solely because he hasn't had a bad game in a while. I don't know when the last time he had a really bad game was.
Right.
But like you three are like super dangerous. Like if Trey and
The thing is, I might not be able to face her in the championships because we might be a first round if we're both 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Because Brendan might maintain number 1. Who knows?
Because like if Trey or I get it, well, I mean it has to be Trey and I, but like Trey and I aren't scary at all. Like we've been averaging low scoring games. I mean,
Yeah, I really want the number 1 seed now.
yeah, like whoever plays us is just going to destroy us. Because like
Like beforehand, we had like the top 4 where it was like, oh man, having whatever seed's not going to matter because we're all like pretty consistent.
Yeah.
But like, just looking at recent stuff is like, man, I kind of want number 1 seed now.
I feel like I'm more scary than Trey solely because like.
Oh yeah.
Because like I've had a lot more points than him, and like when my team pops off, they pop off, but they're so inconsistent. It's just I don't know if I'm going to be like I'm gonna have to get so lucky for them to.
Oh,
Like,
I just looked, and even though Adam Thielen's listed as out, he still has a projected amount of points.
oh, okay.
There. It doesn't say 0 yet, so
That makes sense. That makes.
We just have to wait for that. Yeah.
I was going to say that's still like super projected high for having someone out.
Yeah, so it'll probably go down to 50 once she updates it to giving it to Chris Godwin or Justin Jefferson. But those guys are still almost equally as scary. I would put in Justin Jefferson because if Adam Thielen is out, then he's going to get a lot of the love, you know?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. She has a lot of Vikings players, I've realized.
Yeah, I gave her Justin Jefferson because she's a Vikings fan.
Yeah.
Well, not as big as like she's more of a Jets fan, but like she likes Vikings because Marshall from How I Met Your Mother likes Vikings.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So I versus Licia should be an easy game. Should quotation marks should be an easy game, but the last time
she still has Devontae Adams. You have to remember that. Devontae Adams. AJ Brown's scary even against Indianapolis. Like AJ Brown can be scary. Fucking Allen Robinson can definitely still be scary.
Yeah.
She just gotta put those guys in instead of Marquise Brown.
Yeah. Like, okay, even though Licia is 2-9, when her team pops off, she's like super scary. But it's just that she hasn't really been paying attention early in the season, which caught her such a bad record.
Yeah, and like she wasn't paying attention to injuries, so she didn't have a great like depth and like bench stuff, and she wasn't getting she wasn't keeping up with like the waivers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, like you or I was. So.
Yeah, but I feel confident in winning this because like the Eagles play Seahawks. Seahawks don't have that good of a defense, but it's also the Eagles offense, and the Seahawks defense did look pretty good against the Cardinals. So we're probably going to get destroyed there. But I just feel confident in this week solely because Hugh's playing Hugh, and I feel like I just need a good win because like I haven't had a win in a while.
Yeah, this is a good chance for you. I would say so.
I'm not really going to change anyone. If I would change anyone, I might put Amari Cooper in and/or Kareem Hunt because they're playing.
Yeah, I was looking at Kareem Hunt playing against Jacksonville. He did great against. Who were they playing? Oh, they're playing you in Philadelphia. Yeah.
But yeah,
hey, that would actually be interesting if you put in Kareem Hunt when she has Nick Chubb in.
Oh yeah, that would actually be a really fun one to watch. But like I have confidence Russell is going to have more points than Cam Newton. Miles Sanders, he's on a downside, but he's averaging like he's the second highest average points in the league behind Kyler Murray. So like if we just need to feed him and he needs to get more receptions and he can go off. I think he's going to get more points than Nick Chubb, or it's going to come like extremely close. Gibson against Dallas, I believe he's going to get more points than Chase Edmonds, and Metcalf. Adams is probably going to get more points there. Fulgham more points than Brown, I think. Kelsey more points than Henry. Thomas more points than Jones. I don't know if Jones is going to play or not, but then both of our defense are playing shitty teams. Browns playing against Jacksonville and Dolphins against Jets. And our kickers, it's up in the air. So I think this is the first like game where I'm confident in a while that I can win. Again, it's against Licia, and I just feel like my team they're bound to like pop off. I guess we can just go on to Compton Grip Trip versus Diabetic Nation.
Yeah. So this is a 56% probability in Compton Grip Trip's favor, who's 7-4, leading the league. Diabetic Nation is 5-6, trying to make a last-second break into the playoff berth. Because he didn't start off so good, but recently he's gotten some okay wins, including a clutch one against Hapless Thespians, as we remember. So, looking at this, Common Cryptip has Eagles defense in still. I would not do that.
Yeah, that's a bad that.
I would rather put Ravens defense against Pittsburgh. I would rather that.
Pittsburgh offense is not as high scoring as the Seahawks. And the Seahawks are playing the Eagles, which it's going to be a blowout.
Dude, if Brendan wins this whole league with one of his bench spots empty, I'm going to be so mad.
Yeah. That's so irritating.
Yeah.
But Brendan has to win.
I mean, it'll come down to how well Tom Brady can bounce back against like another great team with a lot of eyes on him. It's not prime time necessarily, but there's like most of the nation's gonna be looking at KC versus TB.
Even though Brendan's in my division, he's far enough in the lead where I'm not gonna get first place in the division. So I need Brendan to beat Trey because we're neck and neck. But Brendan,
I don't necessarily I want to have number 1 seed, so I wouldn't mind.
Yeah. So you can play.
Yeah, I mean his rosters are great though.
Yeah.
Mark Andrews has been showing up for Ravens. I think he's the 3rd ranked tight end. He had a great game against Tennessee, in fact. Aaron Jones as his flex is amazing. Alvin Kamara's been great. Tyreek Hill obviously has had a great streak recently. Terry McLaurin,
he's been doing really solid.
Yeah, I would say so. He has some like games against like teams where he should be doing better, but against Dallas, I think he'll be fine.
Yeah.
Justin Tucker obviously is a solid kicker. Like, yeah, this is a well-rounded team overall.
Yeah. Why is Pitt playing at 12?
Oh, I don't think they've updated that time yet because it's not Thanksgiving game anymore.
Oh, okay.
It got postponed because Ravens is having COVID issues. A lot of Steelers players are upset about it because this is the second time this has happened to them, where the other team is having COVID issues and they have to get delayed. They lost their later bye week because of it, and now they're losing their Thanksgiving primetime game, which is a fan favorite. So.
Yeah. But yeah, Brendan's just a lot better team, and he should win. Trey's playing for Broncos again. I think that's his kryptonite. He would have had like a lot more wins, I feel, if he didn't play Broncos as much as he did.
He could make it 5, take Rob Gronkowski out, and put Noah Fant.
Can we text him that? Be like,
no.
You're gonna lose anyway. Can you please just put Fant in?
No, I want to see him put in. Who does he put in instead? He doesn't have back. I guess Michael Gallup.
Yeah,
he doesn't have great. I mean, for flex, I guess you could put in Todd Gurley.
Yeah, I would put Todd Gurley in.
Over Jerry Jeudy. Yeah.
And maybe Gronkowski. I would put Gronkowski over McManus.
What? Gronkowski over Fant?
No, Gronkowski over. No, wait, Goskowski.
Oh, Goskowski?
Yeah,
oh, yeah. I would. I would too.
So, do you want to predict the games now?
Yeah, let's predict games. So, like I said, there's supposed to be a primetime game between Baltimore and Pittsburgh, which was like to cap off all the Thanksgiving games tomorrow.
Yeah.
But instead there's only 2 games. None of them are primetime. It's going to be a 12 o'clock and a 4:30, I think. Maybe a 1 o'clock and a 4:30, something like that.
That kind of sucks because I like having the 3 games to watch.
Yeah, it's really fun. But obviously we know that Detroit gets their Thanksgiving game. They have a game every year because that is tradition. And then Cowboys too, Dallas and Washington, and Detroit versus Houston. So let's start with those. Detroit versus Houston. Detroit is at 4-6, coming off of an embarrassing loss. Houston is coming off of a better win, I guess. I'm not going to say it was like amazing, but like, Houston can take what they can get. So I feel like either of these teams have a chance, a pretty solid chance, I would say. Like, yeah, it would go back and forth. I think it would be interesting as a Thanksgiving game anyway. So who you got, Caleb?
I got the Lions. I feel like they're going to bounce back from the ugly win, and I feel like they're just too good of a team to lose like that two weeks in a row, especially against the Texans. He was the worst team against the Panthers, but
right. Fun stat: Detroit has a losing record during their Thanksgiving games.
Really?
That's true. Yeah, they have a losing record in their Thanksgiving games. Kind of sad.
That is sad. Who do you got?
I got Detroit though, because I got to rep Detroit during our traditional Thanksgiving game. Also, I have to root against Texans just because that's AFC South, even though they're not like playoff threat at all. But it's conflict of interest, of course.
Yep.
Anyways,
Washington Cowboys. I don't know. I want to pick Washington to win this one. But like, I don't like for the divisional stake, like it doesn't matter who wins. Or I guess it does. I think I need the Cowboys to win because I think Washington has a better divisional record than the Cowboys. But
okay, then pick Cowboys then.
I'm never rooting for the Cowboys. Like you're not gonna for the Cowboys.
I picked Washington too. I really have no reason for it. It's just like these fucking NFC East teams, like you can never predict them really. Yeah. It's just like they'll suck against each other and then one doesn't end up sucking that much and that's how they win. So
and then Ravens versus Steelers. I'm going to pick the Steelers on this one.
Yeah, I'm also going with Steelers. Ravens just don't look as good. They're at 6-4. They would be at 6-5 after this loss, which is like entering the season, you would not be able to imagine them being near the .500 mark. But Lamar Jackson is not looking like his MVP self. They're probably going to be without their two best running backs in J.K. Dobbins and Mark Ingram because they're on the COVID-19 reserve list. Defense has been okay, but it's just Ben Roethlisberger has been looking great, even as the veteran he is. Comeback player of the year, I would say. Probably. We'll see.
The only thing that Ravens have going for them is their running game.
And they're losing it, basically. Yeah. They only have Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
So... great coaching from Mike Tomlin as well. Great defense from Pittsburgh. Scary defense. Like, I think on the quarterback pressure stat sheet, in the top 5, 3 Steelers make up the top 5 in like quarterback pressure.
Dang, that's crazy.
It's insane. And like obviously Aaron Donald is up there, and I forget who the other is, but yeah, I think TJ Watt tops off the list from the Steelers. So.
That's crazy.
There you go.
This is not as much as a coin flip as it was in the beginning of the season, but I still feel like it's going to be a close game solely because it's a divisional game as well. But yeah.
Sure. Atlanta versus Las Vegas. So Atlanta's 3-7. They haven't looked good, but they've looked okay in small games, I would say. Las Vegas though, they're 6-4.
I'm going to go with
still trying to make it into playoff contention, despite probably not going to win their division. Who you got?
I got Las Vegas.
Yeah, me too. So far, we're both agreeing.
Yep. Las Vegas, like they almost beat Kansas City twice, and they're just looking too good to lose to Falcons. And then you got Chargers, Bills.
Yep.
I got the
So they have opposite records. So Buffalo 7-3, Chargers is 3-7.
I got the Bills.
You got the Bills?
Yep.
I got the Chargers.
You're BSing.
I swear I do.
I thought you said that you're going to stop.
I know. I did say that. But here's my thing. right? I just don't like Bills. I really don't.
I
And
don't like the
if
Bills
they go
either.
if they go 8-3, I'm gonna be really mad.
Yeah.
And I just feel like Chargers, they've struggled to close out games, right?
Yeah.
They've really struggled. But they finally did it. And I'm just thinking in my head, like, what if that's all they needed? Even though it was against the Jets, even though it was this close, what if that was all they needed to finally get back on track and start winning games, you know?
Yeah.
Like they just needed that one moral victory just for them to finally break out of that sort of, I don't know, restraining factor to them. And they just fucking pop off, beat the Bills out of nowhere. Huge upset for the week. That's kind of what's going through my head. Obviously, I know I'm not gonna like, it's gonna be like a tough one. And
Yeah.
I'm not super confident about it, but I'm going to pick them anyways, just because. Also, I'd really like to see Miami make the playoffs, and if Bills lose, that gives Miami a better chance. So,
Yep. I I want the Bills to lose, but I just feel like the Bills are going to win because they've been looking strong. I was saying earlier in the season that they're like the worst, like what 5-2 or 6-3 record in the NFL, but like they have some pretty good, decent wins recently.
yeah, but they have some terrible losses.
Yep. They almost came close to losing the likes of Jets, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. So I don't know.
it's the same as Chargers, really.
Yep.
We'll see.
Giants, Bengals. I'm going to pick the Giants because of how well Danny Dimes is looking, but I need the Bengals to win. I need the Bengals to
Right.
win. I'm rooting for the Bengals.
Who's Bengals backup? Do you
I have no
know?
idea.
I'm gonna look it up, but yeah, I'm not rooting for the. Well, I'm not picking the Bengals just because I don't think there's a point any at all this season. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
and yeah, the
Like,
Giants are.
I think their chances of winning are so slim without Joe Burrow.
Yeah, Joe Burrow just makes that team a lot much better, even though they're 2-7-1. But
Brandon Allen, who is Brandon Allen?
I've never heard of him in my life.
2016 round 6 pick that went to Jacksonville and then somehow ended up with Bengals. So he was a round 6 pick in 2016.
Yeah, there's no chance the Bengals are gonna win this. Giants are just a much better team than them, even though they only have one more win than them. But yeah, I just don't see it.
That is crazy.
All right, Titans, Colts. I got the Colts.
You do? You're finally on the Colts train?
Yep.
Because you fucking chose Green Bay last week.
Okay, that was only a little.
So you're not sleeping on the Colts anymore?
Nope. Okay, that was kind of only a little bit to spite you, a tad bit, but I just thought Green Bay was a better team, or I thought that they could close it out, but the Colts surprised me. That was a happy surprise because I wanted the Colts to win, but like
Good.
I've been rooting for the Colts all this year. I just didn't think that they could pull it off.
It's getting covered in Philadelphia again. It's a 1:00 game, and the Colts are getting broadcasted in Philadelphia. So obviously, they're getting the attention they deserve because otherwise they would not be on television here. But
Yeah.
they are. So
That's awesome. I'm happy to hear that.
unless the Pittsburgh-Baltimore game ends up interfering with that, which
Yeah.
very well might be. But I'm pretty sure they said it would be an afternoon game. So we'll just wait for further notice. Like, we'll see what the NFL decides. Goodell. So Minnesota at 4-6. Obviously having some struggles, but they look pretty clean in some games, like they did against Green Bay. Not so much against Chicago, I would say, but it was still close. Carolina, they don't look as consistent whatsoever, but against some of the worser teams, they look very dominant. So it's just like one of those things. They're kind of caught in the middle.
This is a coin flip for me because I don't know what to choose because Vikings just lost to the Cowboys. If this game would have happened a couple weeks ago, or if someone asked me who you got, Panthers, Vikings, I would have said Vikings all the way because they've been looking dominant. But after the Cowboys lost and after the Panthers dominated one next, the Lions, I don't know who to choose, but I think I'm going to just going out of my limb the Vikings because I want the Vikings to win, so I'm just going to say the Vikings. But
I want Carolina, dude.
Really?
I like Carolina, man. Like they're a fun team offensively. Like their defensive kind of looks ass, but offensively, I think Matt Rule has the right idea on like how dynamic this team needs to be in order to get their wins. With like Robbie Anderson and Bridgewater and McCaffrey when he's healthy. Hopefully, he can be healthy against the Vikings. Hopefully, that fucking doubtful marker is off of his name going into Sunday. But we'll see. Like this team is a huge threat when everything's going right on the offense and when their defense isn't fucking up. So
Cardinals, Patriots. I got the Cardinals.
Yeah, me too. I think Cardinals are looking too solid to at this point in the season to lose to a subpar team.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see them losing pretty heavily even to some of the better teams just because, like, I don't think it's this year that they're going to be able to, like, make a huge run in the playoffs. But next year, definitely, once they have some offseason, moves to really tighten up that sort of foundation they've built with Kyler Murray, DeAndre Hopkins, and, like, Buda Baker on defense, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I'm just thinking, like, they could be the type of team to start beating all the dominant teams. But as of right now, they're just going to be subpar teams very heavily. And in this case, New England is looking like a subpar team. Definitely not making the playoffs. They might have a losing record, which is just like New England. What?
Yeah, that's crazy.
To end the season, like they obviously have a losing record now, but just to think that they're probably going to end the season with a losing record, just like, whoa.
Very high probability because they're only like
they're 4-6 right now.
Yeah, like 3 games away from losing record, but yeah, and then like you said, Cardinals are only a couple moves away from having a complete team, but yeah, that's an easy one I feel. But you got the Dolphins, Jets. Ain't no way the Jets are.
Jets made it into double digits in their losses marker. They did it.
They got eliminated from the playoffs officially.
Officially, that's right.
But the Dolphins are going to win this one. I picked the Dolphins to win. I just don't see a way Dolphins are going to lose this game even closely.
Steelers haven't even clinched the playoffs even, but Jets they're just out. You know?
That's crazy to think about.
Even though they're basically opposite records, Pittsburgh 10-0, Jets 0-10. So Miami, definitely I have them. They have a chance to make the playoffs still. I don't think it's like. I think it kind of depends on how other teams perform, though. I don't think they can control their own destiny anymore after their bad loss against Denver, but we'll see.
Yep. Browns, Jaguars, just like Browns. I got the Browns. That's probably practically an easy one.
Yeah, me too. I was this close to doing the whole thing again. We're like, Browns aren't that good. Jacksonville can do it. That's Jacksonville. Like, they're no Houston or Philadelphia. And like, obviously, Houston and Philadelphia, they're not great teams right now either. But Jacksonville, that's how far below Jacksonville is compared to those teams,
Yeah.
Like, that's what I mean.
The Jags are in the same lump with the Jets. Like, it's crazy.
Oh, definitely. They are definitely in the same lump.
They're like loss or one like
people thought the Jaguars would be the Jets of the season,
Yeah.
So, but Jets just out Jets them. So
yeah, it's crazy. But
New Orleans at 8-2 versus Denver 4-6.
I got the.
Who you got? Yeah, me too. Even without Drew Brees, they look really good still, and it's kind of surprising. But Denver, they had a great win, and it was nice while it lasted. But you're not going to be able to get 2 amazing wins like that,
especially against the Saints too.
Oh, it's Saints are tight organizationally, like no way.
49ers.
Rams 7-3 versus 49ers 4-6. A big divisional game for the Rams because if they win this, they have a great chance of ending up like just straight out winning their division from here on out. Obviously, Seahawks are going to stand a chance. Cardinals have a slight chance still, but Rams are looking like they're in the hot spot, right? So who you got?
I got the Rams.
Yeah, me too. 49ers. I feel so bad for the 49ers. They're a Super Bowl team last year, and now they're just 4-6. It's like, so sad.
Only because of injuries.
Oh, definitely. Like no other reason. All right, Kansas City Chiefs at 9-1, only one loss against their divisional rival Raiders versus Tampa Bay, who cannot get it done in prime time. They're at 7-4.
I'm gonna say the Chiefs.
Me too.
This is gonna be a close game, I feel, but the Chiefs are just way better, and I feel like the Bucs are just gonna flop.
Yeah, there you go. So Green Bay 7-3 versus Chicago 5-5. Big divisional game. Chicago, even though we beat them, Indianapolis, they were like messaging some of the Colts people like, "Yo, please beat Green Bay. We need to still have our chance to make the playoffs." Blah blah blah. So, yeah, it comes down to Green Bay.
I'm gonna say Green Bay. I was riding high on the Bears for a while solely because of Nick Foles, but Nick Foles is not on the team anymore. Well, he still is, but just injury, so he's not playing. That's what I meant.
I also choose Green Bay.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah. Green Bay looked really solid against Colts, and Colts beat Chicago pretty decently.
Yeah.
I would say Green Bay. Oh, Colts actually swept the NFC North.
Really?
Because we played all 4 teams.
Dang.
We swept them. We beat Vikings first, and then we beat the Bears next, and then Detroit. That's right. We fucking destroyed Detroit, and then we beat Green Bay.
That's crazy. Good for you guys.
Yeah.
And then you got the Monday night game, Eagles Seahawks. I'm going to have the Seahawks. And yeah, like this is
that's so sad.
Yeah. Like this is such an obvious like answer, or like,
but it's so sad.
Yeah. It's like,
but hey, Eagles, some primetime magic as we saw against 49ers. No one really expected that, but
maybe. Hey,
maybe.
But Eagles have never beaten Pete Carroll and the Seahawks before. I think.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah.
Oh, that's right. You lost them
like 6 in a row.
Wow, that's insane.
Yeah. So like.
Well, that would be a fun one to watch then.
Yeah. Even without like the Eagles being so bad, like if the Eagles were good this year, I would still say the Seahawks solely because we've never beaten them with Pete Carroll.
All right, well, there you have it. Those are our predictions. That is the show. Thank you for watching. Tune in next week to see how wrong we were or how right we were. We'll find out.
Thanks for watching. Love you guys.
Peace.